Victoria Beacon Hill.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, 2 years ago, New Democrats raised serious concerns around the integrated case management system and how critical flaws in the system could put vulnerable children at risk. The BC Liberals didn't listen and the problems continued. Now we find out that caseworkers have been consistently unable to access the system for a week. As the representative for Children and Youth noted today, that means, and I quote, "A social worker today going into a home to remove a child will not know whether in that home there are weapons, won't even know perhaps the last known address of that child." We had a range of ministers today at lunchtime, Honourable Speaker, say that the system was fixed. Well, we've continued to get calls to say that the system has crashed again today after lunch. So my question is to the Minister of Children and Families, why wasn't the system fixed in the first place when the Liberals were told that it put children at risk?
Here.
Minister of Children and Families.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, I'd like to assure the member opposite and all the members of the House and the general public that are listening, Madam Speaker, that our first and foremost priority in the Ministry of Children and Families is always the safety of children and vulnerable youth in our province. There have been, for the last number of days, challenges with the system. ICM has not been operating at full capacity. That's why, Madam Speaker, as part of standard procedure, all of our service delivery areas, all of our offices have continuity plans in place to manage situations like this. Madam Speaker, hard copy files are available to be used, as are phone calls between offices, Madam Speaker. Our social workers know their jobs very well and do a very good job, even in challenging circumstances, to ensure that children in this province are safe.
Recognizing Victoria Beacon Hill on a supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I spoke to a social worker this morning who went into work before 6 a.m. in hopes that she could get onto the system before it crashed once again. She's preparing to do a court case for a child in a custody issue. And she has no idea whether the files that have been printed off when the system was working are up to date or not, because the system crashed again. The system isn't working, Minister, and children are being put at risk, and social workers and other staff are frustrated. A note came out today, Honourable Speaker, from the staff, from management, to the staff who work in the ministries that says, "We do not have the ability to issue meal tickets or grocery cards. You can, however, direct clients to shelters." That's the kind of response that is happening right now, Honourable Speaker. The representative for Children and Youth said this morning, and again I quote, "For 6 months we've had an information system where you couldn't push and print a report to go to court or get a hearing, and now nothing's been working for a week." This was almost $200 million of taxpayer dollars, Madam Speaker. So much for, and I quote from earlier in the week, "well-balanced outsourced contracts to manage our IT" that the Minister of Citizen Services was bragging about. It's been down for a week. Madam Speaker, the system has been down for a week. If the Minister has no idea what the problem is, what kind of assurance can be given by this government that the system isn't going to crash next week or the week after or the week after that?
Minister of Children and Families.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I stated, the safety and security of the children and youth that we serve is our foremost priority. That means, Madam Speaker, that we have backup systems in place to ensure that our social workers are able to access the information they require to keep those children safe. Madam Speaker, much of what the member opposite has just recited is incorrect. And so, Madam Speaker, I would like to make clear that the system, Madam Speaker, ICM, has been experiencing challenges for the last number of days. And Madam Speaker, there have been other protocols in place for workers to access the information they need, including pulling the hard copies of files and communicating with other offices via phone. Madam Speaker, as well, our after-hours services, Madam Speaker, have had operating capacity during this time. Madam Speaker, we are confident that children are being kept safe by the very staff that serve them.
Nelson Creston.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Well, not only is this broken computer system putting children at risk, it's throwing families living in poverty into chaos. Clients of the Ministry of Social Development are unable to get checks for crisis grants, and as the member for Victoria Beacon Hill said, they're unable to get meal tickets, grocery cards, and other critically important help like damage deposits. Many of them are facing eviction right now or are unable to get into a new place and are seeing themselves going homeless this upcoming month. And after a week of all of this nonsense, Madam Speaker, the public now knows why. Not because the government let people know and was upfront about it, telling them their plan to fix the problem, to manage the backlog, and how to get service back on track in a timely manner. It's because advocates spoke out, Madam Speaker. So my question is to the Minister of Social Development. Why was he asleep at the switch and failed to tell the public what was going on, when he was going to fix it, and what he was going to do to make sure this didn't happen again?
Minister of Social Development.
Madam Speaker, the ICM issue was something that came up late last week, and yes, we were aware of it because many clients told us. The 1,500 frontline workers, we were aware of it. One of the things I'm really proud of is the frontline workers did a very good job under troubling circumstances to prioritize the individuals who needed help the most. They worked very hard, and so if there was an opportunity where individuals would need some resources, those resources were able to be provided. Madam Speaker, one of the things that we were looking for when we knew this was going down is we wanted to make sure we were dealing with the people who needed help the most. And so one of the things we were doing is we were making sure that when people come into the office, we understood their needs. We also had another step, Madam Speaker. There are people actually expressing concerns on social media, not directly communicating to the ministry. But what we do is if we find out a social media concern and we can identify that individual, we actually proactively reach out to that person to see what are their needs and see if we can help. It's really important that we learn about these issues. Madam Speaker, one of the things we were able to do in estimates on both Wednesday, Thursday, and then following Monday this week, we talked about how important it is that if there is a person who is struggling, we want to make sure the right staff know, and if necessary, the minister knows to see if we can find a way to intervene to assist those individuals. If the members opposite are aware of those individuals, by all means, please make sure we are aware of them.
Thank you, Minister. Nelson Creston.
Madam Speaker, through you to the Minister, Facebook and Twitter are not a backup plan for ICM. And I'd also like to remind the Minister that neither are pencils and pieces of paper, as he suggested this morning on the CBC. That is not a backup plan. And the fact that the government knew this for a week and didn't tell the public at all is shameful. But not only is that shameful, Madam Speaker, but when the Minister of Citizen Services stood in this House on Monday and said that this government has, I quote, an enviable record of deployment of top-end IT services.
Wow. Good job.
Madam Speaker, at the end of the day, ICM is his responsibility, and if he didn't know that ICM had crashed last week, he should have. So my question is to the Minister of Citizen Services. Did he mislead this House on Monday when he boasted of the government's IT services? Or did his colleagues, the Minister for Children and Families and the Minister for Social Development, not tell him what was going on and what was putting hundreds of thousands of people's lives at risk?
Member for Technology, Innovation and Citizen Services.
Madam Speaker, as is now known, the ICM information system has not been...
Members will come to order.
The ICM information system has not been operating at full capacity over the past few days. There have been slow response times and intermittent problems with entering data. Now, the system was up and running this morning. It's going through reboots this afternoon. And the key point, Madam Speaker, is that the end users, those who need the services that are the subject of the system, are receiving services. The checks for the month of May, social assistance checks for the month of May, were delivered in late April. And the current delays are an issuance of payments for special circumstances in the short term. These will be addressed in the short term, and I'm proud to be able to say that the ICM system has been operating at 99.72% uptime over the past 2 years.